videos. Some are going to be more difficult, obviously, just to keep it fun. So, without much further ado, let's start playing. Can you guess the invisible trigger? You can't see them, but around me I have loads of triggers and props. I think that they are I but maybe you can still get it right. So what do you think is item number 4? The fourth invisible trigger is my bamboo hairbrush. I personally really like the sound of this hairbrush. That's why I include it so often. I just think it sounds so nice. So let's swap it up a little bit. We're round number 5. How are you doing so far? Is it going well or not so well? So for number 5, I wanted to do something different on everything else. So not a trigger that you have seen before, nor a trigger that I would normally think to include in the ASMR video. But I thought that it could be really interesting and hard to guess for this particular video. Can you tell what is item number 5? Item number 5 is an oven mitt. Did you get it right? This one I find really cute because it has little kitties drawn all over it. And I do love cats, so. And this one could be hard to guess just because all you can really tell is the sound of fabric, right? But it could be many different things, so just to make things a little bit more difficult and specific. So let's move on to round number 6. So this one I think could be a little bit tricky, but maybe if you are very familiar with ASMR, like you watch a lot of ASMR, maybe it can seem very obvious to you. I'm actually not sure how this one plays out with just the audio. So, what do you think is invisible trigger number 6? The invisible trigger number 6 is a makeup brush, or more specifically, mic brushing. Like I was saying, this one, maybe you can tell right away that I am using a makeup brush on my mic cover. Or maybe you can't. I don't know. I think this one can be tricky. So let's move on to round number 7. This one, I think very similarly to the previous one, can be very easy to guess from the get-go. Or maybe you can struggle a little bit with it. I don't know. Let me know what you think below. I think it can be tricky. Once again, just because it can be very specific. So, what do you think is item number 7? The 7th invisible trigger is a book. This one, once again, can be obvious, can be tricky. Maybe if you start thinking about it too much. I think the answer is quite simple. But once again, I already know what it is. So I don't know if that counts. So, what do you think is item number 8? Item number 8 is ASMR trigger.